When trick training your horse, you must be aware of your horse's attitude. A horse with a docile, quiet attitude is more apt to take to these tricks really well. And within about a week, you should be able to do the lay down really well. If you have a feisty horse, it may take you weeks or months to get them to consistently lay down without much problem. Also, with a feisty horse, you may not want to use a hobble. Feisty horses have a tendency to want to fight resistance more, and even though a hobble is not used to force the horse down, they still may not like the fact that they can't put their leg down. With a feisty horse, you may not want to use a hobble. A feisty horse has a tendency to want to fight more, and with a hobble, they may fight that rope to try to get their foot down. With a feisty horse, if you use a hobble and they start fighting it, they can injure their legs really bad. So if they start fighting it uncontrollably, take the hobble off. Don't risk it. Try it without the hobble. It takes longer, but it's worth it. Also, when getting your horse to lay down for the first time, you will have to help them put that second leg underneath them. They will not do that at the first time because they won't know what to do. So you will have to do that. Eventually, they may get the idea and start putting it under there by themselves. If you are trying to get your horse to lay down for his first time and you can't get him into the bow position, take a halter, a boselle, or a bit, something with two reins, and use that to pull him down by pulling the opposite rein and pulling his nose to his girth on the opposite side of the horse that you're standing on to pull them down into a bow. Then let them have their head back and then go from there. When getting your horse off the ground, it is advisable to do it controllably. And what I mean by that is when you ask them to get off the ground, have them put one foot out in front of them, then stop them and lay them back down. Do that a couple of times, and then next have them put 2 feet out in front of them a couple of times and laying them down. Then you can ask them to get up. This is also a very good exercise if you plan to teach them to sit up. If you want to get on your horse from the lay down to go riding, while they're laying down, climb on their back and kick them or whatever cue you use to get them to move forward. I prefer to do this on a horse that I have ridden. I do not like to use this technique on a yearling. It's too young. They still want to play. Their bones are not mature enough. And a hobble can injure them much easier and much worse than if you used it on a feisty horse. A 2-year-old is the earliest I ever like to do it. I personally like to wait till they're 3. I do not use the hobble to force a horse down. I don't like to force a horse to do anything, but I do use a hobble to help me hold their foot up.